Recording, and I believe we should be recording then. All right, so Mixamo. So the Mixamo is an Adobe product.
I think you also need to share your screen
I do
in
need to
Zoom
share
as
my
well.
screen. Thank you. All right, share screen. Okay. So yeah, here we go. All right, Mixamo is an Adobe web app kind of thing. So it used to be a separate company, Mixamo, and Adobe purchased them. They got this sort of website thing along with like a character creator kind of thing. It's a app that you download. I think it's available on Steam, and I think the idea behind it is it's free to get that app, and but then you have to pay if you want to actually export characters. I've never tried that. I've just messed around with this, and so what this is it's a so you've got different characters that they provide you that you can animate, and then it also has a library of animations that you can use. You can also upload a character, and that's what we're going to be demonstrating today.
So are
So,
these based on Unity, what do you call them? Avatars? Uh,
so
like like
um,
the actual animation, do you happen to know whether or not they're based on some base character?
well, so it's basically using FBX format. So it's
Okay.
basically most 3D software will support these animations, and most game engines will also have an import. We do actually like so we'll go through the steps, but basically we'll go out of Blender into Mixamo and then back into Blender before we go into Godot. And so that's mainly because we need to kind of like do a little fixing up of things in Blender before we can go straight into Godot, just to make things easier for us. But yeah, it's pretty much any character you could get from like Synthé Studio or from Turbo Squid. You could potentially animate it in Mixamo, and it's got all these different animations. So there's actually like animation packs if you just want to get a pack of stuff to start with. So this Magic Locomotion pack, it's 16 different animations where like jumping and casting spells and so on. So it's pretty universal. So does that answer your question there?
Pretty well. Pretty well.
Okay,
Thanks.
good. Yeah. So
There
yeah,
must be some like set of bones or skeleton or something that the models have for all the animations to work or something like that,
yeah.
right?
So it's actually the skeleton actually doesn't. Mixamo will actually create the skeleton for us. So so
Okay,
we've
even
got
better.
so we've got this really janky looking character that is my own creation.
Cool.
Yep. And so I'm going to duplicate the collection here so that we can kind of keep this original unsullied. So we don't actually need a rig because Mixamo is going to provide it. So I'm going to delete that. That was just for me to kind of have something to compare to and get things scaled right. This is just a random hand that I need to get rid of. Then I'm going to. So we need to do. So if you see here, if I go into edit mode, you can see here I've got quads. But we actually need to have our triangles. So I'm going to apply this triangulate modifier, mirror modifier. See there, now we have a nice, fairly regular, fairly low poly model here. So, it's not the greatest topology in the world, but this will work for our purposes here. And so I'm also these spheres are for the eyes. I'm just going to add a triangle for this too. Triangulate modifier. Apply. Apply. All right. And so now I can just export this as an FBX. Selected objects. And I'm just going to overwrite this one I have. And from there, I can go here and I can upload a character. And so there's currently no skeleton at all on this. So I'm just going to drag the FBX I created into here. It's going to do its processing here. And there's my guy. And then it's just I need to do this little setup stuff where I show it where the main bones are. So I'm just going to approximate this here. And it's got some options for the skeleton. I'm just going to leave that as is. And then it does, this usually takes about a minute or so. And if it's a more complicated model, it's going to take longer. You can actually download the ones that they provide, and that'll give you a pretty good idea of what is a good kind of like density of mesh that'll work with their product.
May I ask,
Go ahead.
I am an awful rigger.
Yeah, so this might be
How does
something to
this
help
do
you.
that?
So basically now my character's rigged. So just you tell it where the bones are, and it's animating our character right now. And it's a little janky looking, but it, again, like if I spent more time and I could add the geometry where it needs to go, and it would look a little more fluid. But so if I click this follow camera, this will help us here. We can actually see it, and then we can orbit. So here it's actually still using this magic locomotion pack.
Do the packs cost money?
What's that?
How much does the tool
Nope,
cost?
this
And
is
do
free.
the
This
packs
is
cost
free.
money?
And yeah, the licensing is pretty unrestrictive. I was actually
Open source?
So it's I mean it's not the tool is an open source. I don't think there's any limitations on how you use the animations though.
Okay.
So what made you actually think about that is there's actually a character controller in the Godot library, and it just made me think, oh, what is actually the restrictions on it? There's just like a one-page blurb that says you can use it for whatever, and I've seen these animations packaged up in other things too. It seems like it's pretty free to use for whatever purposes you want. So here we can try to search for an animations if we want, or I could just continue on with the Blender part. But here's like a capoeira dance pack. Let's see how long it. But so basically all these animations, they use the same skeleton. So it takes your model, it builds a skeleton that works with the proportions, and kind of does the weight painting and all that stuff behind the scenes. This is taking a little bit longer than I thought. I guess it's kind of a big set of animations here.
That's amazing though, like that it can automatically rig it so well. Because yeah, rigging and weight painting and all that stuff is such a pain to do, very time consuming.
And it's even moving the fingers. That's amazing.
Yep. So I'm gonna look for. Let's see. I think there's a basic locomotion pack. I'm gonna download this FBX. All right, and just kind of clean things up here. So here's the basic locomotion pack I downloaded. So if I go back into Blender, I'm gonna hide this guy, and then we would re-import. So this looks like a little bit of a mess here, but what this is it's basically got an armature for each animation. But so if we look, we've only got one of these actually only one of them actually has the mesh. So we can see here that if you click on any of these animations here, it's got this little shield icons checked blue. So that means I can actually safely delete these other armatures, and we'll still have all of our animations. So I'm just deleting the additional armatures, and so now I've cleaned up all that extra. And so we have our animations here. I do have to click on this, and then I can actually go to here, and I can scrub this to see the animation. So that's a turn right So this is the reason we have to go back into Blender. There's no really good way to name these in Godot that I know of.
Okay.
So you would
May I
have
ask,
to go ahead.
can you mix the animations in Blender?
You can do some mixing here. You can also do some of that in Godot,
Okay.
to some extent. That would probably be a separate discussion, but I do have a little bit
Sure.
of that going on. We could look at a different project later. So let's see. This is the kind of a strafe right. And so I'm not going to go through naming all of these, but that's basically what you'd have to do at this point. And then you'd have to export. Godot prefers GLTF. So let's see. Although I'm going to select this first, then export. So that I can do include selected objects. Going to overwrite this one. Then get our Godot project. Where'd my Godot project go? I must have shipped Godot at some point. Everybody still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Just about to the end here. Okay, so I'm going to drag this into Godot. I'm not sure, this might be a different one from when I was testing things earlier, so let me delete this. Okay. New inherited scene. So yeah, I must have done something. I don't have the mesh.
Is there no texture
I,
or
I think in Blender you actually have to select all the children too when you do
That
the
might be what it
include.
is. Yeah, we can try that quick. So let's see.
So like do a shift click.
I think if you like press A, it like selects everything. I think that's what I usually do.
Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. And so yeah, we can see, the ones I renamed are here. And so yeah, from here there's other things to guide you, but this is just showing we can get things into Godot and work from there.
cool? Really, really cool.
Yeah, this is pretty much, I have another project where I actually set up a character controller. I've demoed that before, but this was kind of the goal of today. So, any questions? Hello, Trevor here. So the remainder of the recording is just us talking about some various things. Mainly the thing is that is discussed is, well, how do you handle root motion? And so it wasn't really part of the presentation that I was planning to do, but I just kind of wanted to follow up and sort of answer that question. So in Mixamo, there's actually an option if you're exporting individual animations to export them without root motion. But if you're exporting a pack of animations from Mixamo, that option isn't there. So the question was, well, is there a way to deal with it in Godot? And there is. So the answer to what we were discussing is, so if you, both the animation tree and animation player extend from the animation mixer class, and on the animation mixer class here, there is a property called the root motion track. And so by setting that, and here it is right here, you set a bone to that track, and basically any movement of that bone will be canceled out so that the animations will take place in one spot and you can just move them with programming. Anyways, so hope you enjoyed the presentation, and hopefully you'll get a chance to join us in person sometime. Thank you. Bye.